This episode of Test Drive is brought to you by Elmec and their EV Duty Smart Home Charger.
Hey everyone, welcome back to PRN Test Drive. Today in front of me we have the Hyundai IONIQ 5. A couple of years ago when this thing first launched and I saw this vehicle on the internet, I thought it looked super cool with the unique design, retro-futuristic vibes. And I also thought that this vehicle is around the same size as a Volkswagen Golf hatchback. But oh boy was I wrong, because coming up close to this vehicle, this thing is freaking massive. It's so much bigger in person than I thought, and it's definitely no Golf hatchback. Now fast forward a couple of years, this thing in 2024 has been on the market for a few years, and for the next model year, the 2025 model year, Hyundai is releasing a facelift model. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about what the changes are going to be like and whether if you should wait for the new one or just pick this one up right now. Let's get started. So first of all, let's talk about the exterior looks. Up front, we've got these super distinct looking headlights, boxy shape daytime running lights that really look super cool. It's also so recognizable from afar. I see this from a mile away and I instantly recognize that it's the IONIQ 5. Now, off to the side, you get these super cool looking flares, sort of like fin-like patterns, and it just looks really good with the top trim rims. Obviously this model is the base model rear-wheel drive version, and it doesn't get the cool looking 20-inch rims. But I'd say these fender flares definitely adds at least 10 horsepower. Now off to the side, you get these pop-out door handles, as well as a couple of these distinctive body lines, along with a running board design that looks, again, very unique. I would say though, one thing is that these door handles, I think would work better if they were popping out the other side, because when I open the door, it feels like I'm pulling on the handles to open the door instead of using this to open the door, because when you get in, you would do this, right? Anyway, just a little small complaint. Now then, obviously to the back here, we've got the charging port. It's motorized, which looks great. And then finally, to probably the most iconic place of this vehicle, the back tail lights. These dotted LED tail lights again look so distinct and so cool. I think the overall aesthetics of this vehicle is very retro-futuristic. Really reminds me of Back to the Future and the DeLorean. It's so unique nowadays to have this sort of design in today's world. I think it's super cool. Now, of course, we're going to have to talk a little bit about the changes for the 2025 model year. The 2025 model year, we will be getting refreshed designs on the front bumper as well as the rear bumper, along with new rims. And then we are also going to be getting an N-line treatment. So N-line will, of course, get its own sportier looking front bumper, rear bumper, nicer looking rims, as well as a different set of fenders. So the overall package should look a lot more sporty. And I think this vehicle in all-wheel drive version has definitely enough power to justify the N-line sporty look. Okay, let's jump inside and talk about the interior. So in here, super spacious. Because this vehicle is much bigger than you think it is, the interior space is also much larger than you would think. Now, even though this is the base model and has a lot of cloth seats, so on and so forth, it has 3 different colors in terms of the interior cabin design. We've got these white headliners and white door panels, along with a light gray seat and dark gray inserts for the seats. Different pattern, different texture as well. So I don't mind the base model look. I think it probably works out better anyway because it's not cold in the winter and it's not blazing hot in the summer. But perhaps my favorite thing about the rear seats is that not only can you recline the seats like this, you can also pull the seat forwards and backwards for more rear trunk space if you so desire. Let's go to the front. Ah, such cool taillights. Okay, in the front seat, the spaciousness design continues. Over here, again, a very open concept design. Down here, you get a open tunnel. Of course, being an electric car, you don't need a tunnel anymore. And then down here with the center console, it is such a big open space down here as well. It's big enough to put whatever you want in here. Handbag, probably. Backpack, if you like. Anything. It's huge. And then over here you get this armrest that you could lift up, along with a little bit more space for some concealed storage. And then obviously you get a little bit of a cup holder, so on and so forth. Up front, a very unique design as well, a white tablet style dash. Most other manufacturers also have this, flat screen dash, but they're never in white, they're always in black. And I think with the screen's theme turned into white, I think it's a pretty cool look. Now, for the next model year, the 2025 model year, what do you get? You get, in the interior, a redesigned center console. This time around, you actually finally get some physical buttons for your heated seats and heated steering wheel. At the moment, you can't do that. You have to go into warmer and then press it like this, or you'd have to use the voice command, which really doesn't work that well. So that is super appreciated, and I love that we're gonna get some physical buttons back. Great. But it seems like we're gonna lose this white dash. From the images and the videos of the new 2025 model, it looks like we're just gonna have a black screen. I don't know how I feel about that, because I think this white theme, along with the white cabin and the gray interior, is a very cool looking design and very unique design. It's a bright interior that I think most cars don't get nowadays, because most cars have black interior. And then, of course, but with the new dash, you also get new software. This current software works well, but it doesn't show a lot of information, and there's not a lot of changes you can do with it. Just a couple of different modes, that's it. So that will be nice. And then finally, you get 4 light up dots in your steering wheel, which we see in the IONIQ 6, but not the IONIQ 5. And then also, the rear mirrors may be optional for a digital rear view mirror. So that's a nice addition as well. In some other international markets, you actually get digital side mirrors as well, but it doesn't look like that's going to come to North America. Now, with that said, obviously all of these new updates and potential new features are just speculations. North American market has not released its version of the new IONIQ 5 yet, so we're going to have to see what is confirmed in the later date. And last but not least, for the 2025 model year, we're finally going to get a rear wiper. This is something that people have been asking for a really long time, and I'm glad that Hyundai is finally listening. This car, in my opinion, should have had the rear wiper to begin with. Anyway, great to have that. Now, we've talked about the interior, we've talked about the exterior. Now let's go for a drive. Alright, now that we're on the road, let's talk about probably the biggest change from this model year and the 2025 facelift. The battery capacity. The battery pack in this one is a 77 kWh battery pack, but for the next model year, it's gonna grow to an 84 kWh battery pack. So you really should expect a bit of a range bump, which is always welcomed. So I'd like to see what real world range that is gonna provide. In terms of this one, with the 77 kWh battery pack, it's rated for 488 kilometers. However, because we're in winter here, I'm getting closer to the 400 kilometer mark on my range estimator, which is still not bad. And if you want something that has a bit more power, you'd have to sacrifice some of the range and get the dual motor setup. Now, in terms of efficiency, in the city, I'm getting around 15 to 16 kWh per 100 kilometer. And on the highway, because this is ultimately a bit of a more boxy shaped vehicle, I'm getting closer to 19 or 20 kWh per 100 kilometers. Now, Niall just tested the IONIQ 6 and did absolutely phenomenally in the efficiency test on the test loop. And I think it's just due to the exterior looks and the exterior shape, because that is way more efficient in terms of aerodynamic coefficient compared to this one. Okay, now that we're on a straight open road, let's see how quickly we can launch this vehicle. Let's put it into sport mode. It's a nice little dial here that you can just press. Again, the white theme looks really nice. Coming to a stop. Let's try one with a sort of a brake boost. Not that it will do anything, but whoa, let's go. Okay. All right. Yeah, this thing is quick off the line. You know, even though this is the rear-wheel drive model with single motor and only quote-unquote only 225 horsepower and 58 pound-feet of torque, this feels really peppy at low speeds, especially from a dig just like that. Really quickly, you get to 70, no problem whatsoever. But ultimately, because this is a single motor and it only has 200 or so horsepower, when you get up to the highway speeds, it does lack a little bit of power accelerating from highway speeds. For that, you would need to get the dual motor version. However, obviously in day-to-day use, especially around the city, this is way more than enough. Okay, now we're getting into some of the turns, and the steering wheel in sport is significantly heavier than it is in any other drive mode, and I definitely feel the difference. It does get a little bit difficult to maneuver at low speeds if you're in a parking lot or taking an intersection or so on and so forth, but in some more spirited driving, it does work very well. Taking these turns, the chassis feels great. You know, even though this is a heavy car, all the weight is down low because of the battery pack, so it basically have barely any body roll. However, the biggest limitation of this vehicle are the tires. The tires that come with the vehicle are EV specific tires, and they offer quite a bit less grip than you would in a normal tire because of the increased efficiency. And this one specifically, the one that we're testing today, has winter tires on, and it's severely limiting the capability of the vehicles taking this into turns. So I don't feel very confident throwing this vehicle into turns at all. But perhaps with a more grippy tire, this would feel completely different. And for that, I think we need to hopefully test the IONIQ 5N for that driving experience. The one last thing that I want to talk about is the suspension tuning. I actually find this, on the contrary to James's review, I actually find this to be a bit too bumpy for the vehicle. I think the overall tuning is decent, however, the damping is a bit stiff for a vehicle like this. This is by no means a sporty vehicle. And so I would say that this would benefit from a bit of a softer suspension tuning. I think that this suspension tuning could be a good fit for the N-Line that's releasing in the 2025 model year, because that one is a bit more sporty, and so that could work a bit better. Alright, so that pretty much wraps it up for us here today at Test Drive. This is still such a good looking car, but for the 2025 model year, we're going to be getting a new battery pack. Would you wait for that one, or would you keep this one and take the white dash inside? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.